Sorry, guys. What's going on? I hope you guys can hear me now. Let me know if you can hear me okay. Welcome to drboycetv.com and also welcome to what is going to be Money in the Morning. I want to apologize to everybody who comes to the Money in the Morning class. I am currently on a world tour, a whirlwind tour all throughout Europe. And apparently the way the schedule was made, it was made in a way where it was always each day the travel interferes with my ability to make it to class, and it's driving me crazy. It's stressing me out. I wish I had planned this in advance, and so I want to just say give a sincere apology to everybody who joins us for the Money in the Morning class because I miss you guys and I really like talking to you every day. And I hate the fact that I've had to cancel 2 classes so far, and I'm going to have to cancel class tomorrow because every day the train happens to run at the same time that we have class. Do I sound frustrated? I don't know if I sound frustrated or not, but I am. I'm very frustrated because I'm like, why are we traveling when I told you I wanted to have my class? So in case you don't know, every morning we do financial consciousness training. Money in the Morning, I train you on the art of economic elevation, and it's free. It's 100% free. So if you'd like to join us, just text the word morning, MORNING, to 87948. Text morning to 87948. Now, right now I'm in Brussels, and my Wi-Fi in Brussels, the Wi-Fi when you travel can be a little bit shaky. So I'd like to do a quick audio check. Give me a quick yes if you can hear me. Everybody that can hear me, give me a yes in the chat. Let me know I'm coming through okay. I see Dragonfly Jones and Gerald Rogers. He says, yes, you sound frustrated. Okay, so that means you can hear me. Great. Yeah. I am mad. I'm really irritated because I get pumped up every morning when we're talking and we're doing, our economic conversation. And I just believe that Black people, I think that when we're on point, we can be the best that we can be. And I see economics as a competition. And I think that we should not be losing that competition. We're supposed to be the winners. So the way you win a competition is you fight. You have to fight. You can't sit around whining and moaning and bitching all the time. You got to get out here and go hustle. Go get something done. Get up and get out and get something, make something happen. So anyway, that's what Powernomics is all about. And I just spoke to Dr. Claude Anderson a little while ago, who's the godfather of Powernomics. He's the guy, he's the originator, he's the alpha, and I don't know what I am, but I'm not the alpha of this. I'm not the alpha or the omega. I'm not the first or the last, but he is one of the great ones in this space. And one thing Dr. Anderson said, I asked him, I said, what do you think about this election? He said, I don't give a damn about the election. He said, I'm voting for Black people. He doesn't care about the Trump or Biden stuff. He cares about Black wealth. He cares about Black people doing what we can economically. And I can tell you, and this was really on my mind, and I wanted to kind of talk to you guys about this today. There is a lot going on with this election. I think the Republicans are having their convention right now. The Democrats are dealing with whether or not Joe Biden should be whether or not Joe Biden should be the nominee or not. And I can just tell you, I find it really interesting, though, that you don't really see when they bring up the African-American community. Has anybody else noticed that they don't really talk about Black wealth? Has anybody noticed that when they talk about the Black community, they don't really talk about reparations? They don't talk about what you're owed. They don't talk about really doing anything tangible for you. They just talk about sort of saying that we're better than the other guys. The other guys hate you more than we do, and you all, either the Democrats are kind of like the pimp who says, "Ho, you need to be loyal to me because I've been your pimp for all this time," and the Republicans are the ones who say, "Nah, ho, look at how bad that pimp is treating you. You need to come work for me." But either way, though, a pimp is a pimp is a pimp. And I heard my good friend Dr. Nicole Price give a TED talk in Morehouse, and she was talking about learning empathy from a pimp. And I want to talk about Dr. Price. And by the way, if you have not seen Dr. Price's TED Talk at Morehouse, you should really watch it. I think empathy is something that we can learn from. In fact, let me see if I can find the title of it, because she had sent me a link and I watched it. I was really impressed. She's a great speaker. She's spoken at the All Black National Convention before. And the title of her TED Talk is "What a Pimp Taught Me About Empathy." And so y'all should go look it up. What a Pimp Taught Me About Empathy. And what Dr. Price seemed to be saying, and I cannot summarize all of her words because she's so smart. It's hard to capture everything an intelligent Black woman is thinking. But basically she basically saying that, pimps be pimping. And that part of pimping, yep, we know pimps be pimping. And part of pimping is knowing how to connect to your pain point. right? Well, a lot of pimping is being able to put themselves in your shoes and find out what's harming you, what's frustrating you, and then selling you a dream that's going to hopefully elevate you out of your painful condition. It can help you alleviate your suffering. Tell me if you know what I'm saying. Tell me if you get what I'm saying here. Tell me if you understand where I'm going with this. What a pimp will do is a pimp can identify. They have a very high social intelligence. They can look at you and see where you're struggling. They can tell when your pockets are empty. They can tell when your self esteem is not where it needs to be. They can tell when you don't have nowhere to go. They can tell when you're just not sure what your next move is going to be. They can tell when you have maybe a weakness or a vulnerability or an addiction that they can exploit. They can put themselves in your shoes. So pimps. So what was really interesting about Dr. Price's speech, which I highly recommend everyone go check it out, is she was basically saying that empathy isn't just something that's used by kind, sympathetic human beings. Empathy can be used by sons of bitches that want to manipulate you. Do you understand? Do you follow what I'm saying? And I can just tell you that one of the things that these politicians do that's really fascinating is they do a lot of research. They do a lot of studies. They like to study and see what are black people mad about. Where are black people hurting? Or black people, their families are falling apart. We're not going to talk about why it happened. We're not talking about the Biden crime bill. We're not going to talk about how to fix it. We're just going to drill. We're just going to put our finger on the wound a little bit and get them to scream in pain, and then tell them that we are the antidote. We are the opiate for the masses. Oh, black people, they're worried about their black jobs. They're gonna lose their little black jobs. They ain't talking about black ownership. They ain't talking about black wealth. They're talking about black jobs. Like, I'm a pharmacist. That's my black job. Has anybody seen those viral videos? I'm not making fun of it, I promise. But they're like, what is your black job? Well, I'm the head of widgets at White Man Corporation, and I'm the senior project manager at Google. And I get it. I'm not knocking it. I'm not making fun of you if you're in this category. I know there's a lot of professional folks in this room, and I respect you. But Lord, come on, man. Come on, man. I mean, do you understand how weird it makes us look when we take so much pride in working for white people? I'm not making funny. I'm not trying to sit here and act like everybody's perfect in here. We've all done it. I mean, we've all done it. But I'm sitting there saying, man, like, you get all your self-esteem from a job title that somebody gave you. They gave you your self-esteem. They looked at you and they said, boy, you showing potential, boy. And because you show so much potential, boy, I'm gonna do you a favor, boy. I'm gonna help you out. I'm gonna make you the middle manager of butt cracks over here in my business and my family business. My family wealth is gonna get built because I know how hard you're gonna work because I made you feel good about yourself, boy. So come on in here. You're kind of one of us, not really, but you kind of are. And that'll be your black job. And I don't like any of that. I'm sorry. I hate that. It drives me crazy because it doesn't mean I have a problem with people that work hard every day. And this is what people do. They're like, oh, you're being uppity. You're being uppity. You're looking down on workers. I'm not looking down on workers. I'm looking down on the pimps. I'm looking down on the people that pimp you into not realizing your full potential. I'm looking down on the people who sold you a dream that was probably one third of the true dream that God had in plan for you, had in store for you. I'm talking about just the people that literally got you were supposed to run a 20-mile race to your potential, and they got you stopping on mile 2. And you're like, I ran 2 miles today. Well, no, God meant for you to run 20, damn it. You're supposed to run a whole marathon, and you happy because you ran the kiddie mile. That's what I really feel. I feel that we can't ever be powerful if we always sitting up underneath somebody who don't even like us. So when you talk about this election, I have to say it a lot so people don't misinterpret. Because what happens is that the Democrats feel like they own black people so much that literally, when you literally just say I'm not voting for the Democrats, they automatically say, oh, you must be a Republican. You're a Trump supporter, which I find really fascinating. That's a type of white entitlement, racist white entitlement that we should not accept. This idea that we literally that somebody literally owns your vote so much that when you say I'm not voting for you, they say, oh, that's because you're voting for another person. So that's crazy. That's absolutely ridiculous. And your vote belongs to you, and that's literally something that I wanted to make clear to you so that you don't ever get out here and let anybody intimidate you or do voter intimidation to make you feel like you got to do what they tell you to do. All right. Anyway, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. Also, by the way, if you want to join us for Money in the Morning financial consciousness training, you can actually text the word morning to 87948. Text morning to 87948, or go to drboyceelevate.com. Also, I have a new best-selling book called The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power. If you'd like to go get a copy of that book, you can actually get a copy for 70% off. If you go to drboycebooks.com, and actually, I'm sorry, I think 70%, 60% at very least. I dropped the price a lot to where you're buying it basically at cost, because I want everybody to have a copy. It's a straight up simplified blueprint of what every Black family can do to build a generational legacy that will last hundreds of years. When I'm walking all throughout Europe and I see institutions that were built 800 years ago, and I see the constitutions and things that people put together hundreds of years ago to build their communities for their people, I think about us. We are the ancestors, and I ask you that question: how many of you can go with me when I say I think we need to have a dream of what our community will look like in 100 years? We should have a dream of what our community will look like in 300 years. We should have a dream of what our community is going to look like 700 years from now. What is your plan? What are we thinking? Or are we only living for today? So anyway, the 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power, you can get a 70% discount. I'm going to give you the code. It's Black Wealth 101, Black Wealth 101. So if you go in there and you order my book, or if you get the study guide, you use the code word Black Wealth 101, all one word, Black Wealth 101. You can actually get 70% off. And again, make sure you use it as one word. Don't type separate words because it won't work. All one word. All right. So let's get back to business on this. I can just tell you that when you talk about Trump and Biden and you're talking about this election, you're really talking about two guys who, for the most part, as usual, haven't really included Black wealth into the agenda at all. There's nothing about the Democrat or Republican agenda that I've seen that really will make a substantial difference in terms of Black wealth or Black economic sovereignty or anything that's actually going to improve the lives of Black people. I've talked about that consistently, and I really hope you'll listen. I know DL is mad at me for saying these things. He called me, somebody sent me, my buddy, Terrain. I think that's his name. I call him my buddy, but we're allies. How about that? I respect the brother. He said, "Why is DL Hughley so mad at you?" And I said, "I didn't know DL was mad at me. I didn't think DL paid attention to me. Why would DL be paying attention to me?" And he literally sends me a screenshot. And according to Terrain, he said, let me see if I can find it here. Terrain Walker, that's his name. And he says that on his page, he literally wrote, because I made a comment about something. He said, "I've never liked you and have an idea." I think he's saying no idea why your punk ass would be on my page. So I guess he's so mad that his grammar wasn't even right. And then he calls me a clown, which is kind of funny because comedians, last time I checked, comedians are clowns. Like, clowns make people laugh for money. That's what a comedian does. So, just to be technical about it, I can't be. I'm not a clown. I'm a scholar. You're a clown, but I'm not saying you're a clown in a bad way. You're a good clown. You make people laugh. I think he's funny, but you tell jokes for money. That's what you do. So that's kind of what clowns do. But anyway, and then he calls me a dickhead, and I thought that was interesting. So I don't know. According to what Terrain says, that's what I see, and I'm not judging. I don't care. I have no interest in fighting with another Black person about who they voted for. I just don't really have time or interest in doing that because I don't think that matters. I think what matters is what are you doing in your own life? What matters is, are you saving your money? What matters is, are you investing for your family? What matters is, are you working on your relationships? What matters is, are you trying to build family? What matters is, are you taking care of your physical health? What matters is, are you taking care of your mental health? Because I can guarantee you that under a Trump or Biden administration, any Black person in America who is taking care of their physical and mental health, strengthening their relationships by healing, maybe doing things like therapy, and investing and saving their money is going to be just fine. Give me a yes if we can at least agree on that most Black people, if they are doing the best that they can do with what they have, saving their money, investing their money, working on relationships, killing generational curses, and taking care of their physical and mental health, they're going to be okay under a Trump presidency, and they're going to be okay under a Biden presidency. And I think that's really important because a lot of times we get caught up in conversations about things like Project 2025, which I did look at it. And if that is something that they're trying to do, I'd be curious to see if they're going to be able to pull it off. I haven't seen any evidence that they could pull it off. It seems to me that they had 4 years. They would have done it already, but whatever, is always a scare tactic, and I don't doubt that there are right wingers out there who have extreme agendas, and I see left wingers who also have extreme agendas. I think in California, Gavin Newsom just passed some crazy laws about stuff they're trying to do with the kids in the schools. So what you see in American politics is you see extremist against extremist. You see extremism on the right, you see extremism on the left. I'm not really an extremist. I like to believe I'm more of a centrist. Even the ideas that I express about the black community, they're only extreme because we're not used to black people having equality. My ideas only seem extreme to people who are used to black people coming in last place economically. I'm only an extremist if you believe black people should continue to suffer financially and remain in last place. If you believe those things, then yeah, it sounds extreme because here I am. I have a PhD in finance, and I'm sharing cutting edge economic strategies with black families that are going to last for hundreds of years. So that's pretty extreme in that book, but it's not extreme in the sense that I'm not out here talking about hurt nobody. I'm not out here talking about doing things that are harmful to anybody, getting people hooked on drugs. I mean, if you want to talk about extreme behavior, look at what they're doing with hip hop. You want to talk about extreme behavior, look at what they're doing in terms of paying a rapper to literally go out and destroy your son before he has a chance to live. Look at what they're doing. Look at the people that are spending billions of dollars pushing messages that are clearly unhealthy to the black community, that are anti-family, anti-health, anti-love. Get your son shot in the street, get him locked up by a cop, get him, having babies, mamas, and STDs, and all kinds of drug addictions and chaos and ignorance. Why? That's extreme. That's extreme. Can you agree with me? Can we agree that if you want to talk about extremism in America, extremism is not a black professor who gets online every day and talks about building wealth in the community and building healthy relationships and seeing black people physically and mentally healthy. There's nothing extreme about you having a healthy mind and body. There's nothing extreme about you having great relationships with your family and your children. There's nothing extreme about you being financially secure. That's not extreme. It's only extreme because you're used to being financially insecure. It's only extreme because we're used to black people having broken families. It's only extreme because we're used to black people dying far sooner than they should. It's only extreme because we're used to having our people run around here blind, deaf, dumb, and crazy because of generational trauma could be easily fixed that nobody will address. That's why it seems extreme. That's why it seems extreme, but there's nothing extreme about anything. My agenda is not a complex agenda. It's really not. So if you really want to talk about extremism, yeah, it's Project 2025 extreme. Yeah, it's pretty right wing. If you are LGBT or if you are a feminist, I would hate Project 2025. It's very anti-feminist. It's very anti-LGBT. It's very anti-immigrant. So if that's who you are, if you're into immigrant, LGBT, feminism, trans this and trans that, and all this other stuff, then absolutely, you should hate Project 2025. You should try to stop it at every available opportunity. And it's 100% your right to do that. I don't have any problem with that. However, the problem that you have, though, is that you make the assumption that all black people are going to agree with you. That's what you do. You make the assumption that every black person's on the same page. And that's just not true. Every black person is not interested in putting LGBT issues ahead of things like black wealth. They're not against gay people. They don't dislike the LGBT community. They just don't think that should be the top black agenda. They don't think that gay is the same as black. There are lots of black people who say, yeah, feminism's okay, but feminism has its flaws. Feminism, creates a lot of, lonely women and stress in a lot of families, because sometimes it turns into a gender war. So there's some people who say, I don't want to be a feminist. I want to be a womanist. A womanist means a woman has every right to be who she wants to be without being pressured by either men who are abusive or by women who are pressuring you to be something that you don't want to be. Right. So that to me is it's kind of what you're looking at. So you're looking at a world where the extremists are out there, right? You got the Project 2025 extremists, you got the extremists on the left, the Black Lives Matter, which was really communism in blackface. That's what that really was. If you really read the Black Lives Matter manifestos closely, you would find that basically it was the Negro extension of the Communist Party. That's what that was. It was just, like, okay, how do we take these leftist ideas and just get black people to promote our leftist ideas? So in a way, it's kind of like if you come to, like, right now I'm in Brussels. And so if I'm in Brussels and I want to look for a legitimate, Brussels, Belgian restaurant, I think Brussels is part of Belgium. I should know these things, but I know they got a lot of Belgian stuff here, like Belgian waffles and all that stuff, right? So if I come to Brussels and I want to eat at a legitimate Belgian restaurant, that's different from me eating at a McDonald's that just has like a Belgian swing to it. Do you understand? Like if I go McDonald's and they say, "Oh, well, because we're in Brussels, we're going to make the Big Mac a little different. We're going to serve a waffle with strawberries on it. We're gonna make our French fries a little bit more consistent with the history of the French fry, or whatever." Right? That's different from authentic Belgian food. Right? That's different from food that is rooted in the actual community. So here's what I mean. Let me bear with me now. Let me drop some game on you. I hope you can follow this. But when someone comes along and they say, "We've got this movement called Black Lives Matter," and everybody that runs it happens to be a trained Marxist, even though most black people are not Marxists. I'm not saying that there's something wrong with being a Marxist. There are a lot of Marxist ideologies out here that that are really interesting. Um, and in fact, Marxism is correct, part of the time. I don't think that it makes sense to just come in and just say, okay, we believe all black people need to do what we're doing, that all black people are the same, because that's not a black movement. That's a Marxist movement with a black extension with a black face. So that's kind of what you see. Now, let me show you something. This is hilarious. At first, I wasn't sure if I wasn't sure if DL Hughley really said those things about me. I told Terrain, I said, I don't think DL hates me that much. DL ain't thinking about me. And I literally just saw a message in my Twitter. This is kind of funny. So I guess he's really upset about this Democrat Republican stuff. He says, I can't fucking stand you. Don't ever hit me again. And he used the P word. It rhymes with ussy. He literally said, I'm looking at this for the first time, and I'm just sitting there thinking, okay, so he really does have an issue. I didn't know that. That's okay. I'm very surprised by this. I did not know that. I'm sorry, DL. If you listen to DL, I'm sorry, man. I hope I didn't hurt your feelings. I will say this. I think that you probably need to stop being such a staunch advocate for just the Democratic Party. It does give the impression that you are almost like on their payroll. I do think it's incredibly healthy for black men who have a community to defend to get into to fight each other over which plantation you represent. I'm looking at this, and I guess DL Hughley really does hate me because I didn't know. I didn't know. I didn't know that he felt this way. I'm kind of surprised. It really makes me it really just kind of it's sad to me. I don't really think that this is the fight that we need to have with each other. Like I just really don't, and I just I kind of want all of us to just elevate a little bit. I mean, sitting here worried about what white folks are doing. And when I talked to Dr. Claude Anderson about this today, I didn't talk to him about the DL stuff. He don't even know who DL is. He don't care. Um, he literally said black people do not have a dog in this fight. He said black people don't have a dog in this fight. And I agree with him. This is not I'm not saying that these things don't matter. I'm not saying these things, I'm not saying that at all. So if you think I'm saying healthcare and education and all this stuff doesn't matter, no, I'm not saying that. If you're saying that I believe you don't have a right to be a Democrat or Republican, I'm not saying that. You can be whatever you want to be. But do you understand how much the community suffers because some of our best, brightest, and most powerful people spend so much energy focused on these two crunchy old white men who don't care nothing about you, that we completely end up neglecting our own people. All that time that could be spent building black businesses is spent advocating for Democrat Republican nonsense. All the time that could be spent strengthening our families is spent trying to figure out if you want to support Biden or Trump. All this time the thing that I need you to get is that a neglected community ends up looking like the community that you have right now. And what does neglect look like? Neglect is similar to a parent who is so busy arguing with their neighbors over sugar that they're not feeding their baby, or they're so busy out thugging in the street trying to represent some gang or whatever that they forget that you got a little girl at home who needs you who doesn't need her daddy to go do 50 years in prison. And so I'm not saying that. I mean, I respect the fire, and I didn't know DL Hughley had that much fire. I think that there's some vitriol there. I feel bad for him. If he ever wanted to call me, I'd talk to him. I don't get. I fear no man. I have no problem talking to any man. But I just really kind of think that there's a mental health issue that we have as a community where we will put so much energy into what some Democrat or what some Republican thinks. I just think that that's incredibly unfortunate. But anyway, let me keep going here, guys. Do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. You listen to drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. And I want you all to know that also one of the things we just put together is a 30-day freedom challenge. If you are interested in truly being free and go beyond the politics, this is totally free for you to do. Just text the word freedom to 87948, and I will send you 30 of the trainings that I've done in our economic elevation training that we do every morning. Everything's been saved and archived. I think at this point, I've done about 160 lectures this year alone, about 160 lectures this year alone. And they're all saved. If you want to get access to everything from now in perpetuity, you can actually go to oh gosh. I can't remember the URL. Shoot. Dang it. Go try drboyceoffers.com, drboyceoffers.com, because I can't remember the URL. But anyway, if you text the word freedom to 87948, then what we'll do is we'll send you every single day. We'll send you one training per day that you can get to your text message. And that will just be something that'll kind of get your day going right. It'll get you thinking about your economic purpose. I'm a believer. My political ideology is that if we get our economics straight, everything else will take care of itself. I'm a believer that if we really build these families, educate ourselves and each other, and prepare for the future, we're going to win. I don't spend a lot of time thinking about Project 2025. I spend time thinking about Project 2070. Project 2070 is something that I wrote about in a book that I put out in 2013. Called Wealth, Education, Family, and Community, A New Paradigm for Black America. And when I wrote that book, that was actually at the same time I did a mass incarceration campaign with Russell Simmons, who was very honorable in terms of how he approached things. And what we did was I wrote a letter to President Obama asking Obama to go back and help us to free some of these Black men and women that have been locked up since the Biden crime bill, and follow his promise on incarceration policy. And so once I wrote the letter, I got a bunch of activists and scholars to sign. Russell got a lot of celebrities to sign. He got everybody from Rick Ross and Lil Wayne to Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith to Chris Rock, to even the Kardashians and Justin Bieber signed it, which I appreciated so much. And what happened was, as a result of that effort, that hashtag, which was in the war on drugs, became the number 3 most trending hashtag on Earth. And that was when the Obama administration realized we wasn't backing down, we wasn't scared, we didn't hate them, but we have love for our people. We wanted to just get this done, and they changed the incarceration policy as a result of that. So that was, real stuff. So I wrote that book around that same time, and it's probably out there somewhere. If you guys want to get a copy, it's probably on Amazon or something. But generally speaking, in that book, I wrote about something called Project 2070. Now, here's Project 2070. I want to break this down. I believe that by the year 2070, the Black community can be the most economically intelligent group of people on the planet. I believe that by the year 2070, that if we pour into our children the way we should be pouring into our children instead of pouring into this Democrat Republican nonsense, that by the year 2070, our community can be incredibly powerful as it pertains to economics. And once we become powerful in economics from a Powernomics standpoint, at that point, the politics falls in line. So y'all got to understand that the politics is driven by the economics. The money is everything. One of the reasons that Biden is suffering right now so much is because he ain't got no money. So this is why, if you ever wonder why a finance professor is talking about Black politics, it's because it's all driven by money. And I'm an expert on money. My PhD is in money. So ultimately, this is the plan. This is the master plan. And here's what you got to understand. And I hope, give me a yes if you're following this. I hope you guys are getting what I'm saying. It doesn't take that much effort. It doesn't take that much change. You ain't got to redirect the whole ship. You ain't got to go in a whole different direction. You don't have to become a new person. You just got to pivot. You just got to do a tiny little pivot. And those tiny little pivots will make a massive difference in your outcomes. Tiny pivots. Invest small amounts of money over a consistent period of time. Pivot the way you educate your kids. Stop letting white folks pour that bull crap into their brains that gets them thinking on this whole Democrat Republican nonsense, right? There is so much out here for you if you can liberate your mind in order to move forward. And I'm not even talking about white folks. I know white folks are scared of me because of the way I talk, but I'm not even really talking about them. I'm talking about you. My question is not for them. Like, when are you gonna change? Why don't you stop doing this? When are you gonna stop being racist? I ain't talking about them. I'm talking about you. When are you gonna stop being racist against yourself? When are you gonna change? Because they won't change until you change. If you keep doing the same thing, they're gonna keep doing the same thing. Let me know if you get what I'm saying. If you keep running right up, if you in a football game, if you keep running right up the middle and they know you're gonna run right up the middle, they're gonna tackle you every time. So don't ask when are they gonna change. First, I need you to ask when are you gonna change? What are you gonna change? How are you gonna change? How are you shifting the trajectory of generational wealth in your family? What are you doing right now that's gonna make a difference? It's gonna change everything. And if you can't answer that question, then that means that before we go and engage the world, before we go and run off and say, oh, y'all Republicans are racist, or before we run off and say, oh, they're Democrats, they just a bunch of racists, then what we need to do, then what we need to do is reflect and say, how are we going to pivot? So you make those little black wealth pivots, I guarantee you it'll make all the difference in the world. And I hope that you'll hear me. And maybe if DL, ever wants to listen, I'd be glad to explain it to him too. Man, you're a smart guy. You're funny most of the time, not all the time, not as funny as you used to be, but you're still good. And I don't hate you. And I would talk to you on the phone. I would talk to you face to face. So if you want to box it out in the boxing ring, I'd let you box with me. I'd probably win, but that's okay though, because I've been working out, so you have to watch out for that. But either way, though, I don't have any animosity toward this man. I'm not going to fight another black man over this Democrat Republican bullshit. That's corny. That's weird to me. That's weird. Fight for something that matters. Fight for something that's going to make a difference. You stop telling me Trump is going to end democracy as we know it. Stop using scare tactics. They used that in the last election. He got elected. We didn't die. Stop that. Stop with the scare tactics and just tell people why you think your candidate's the best, and then get back to the business of being a black man. Get back to the business of doing the stuff that we need to be doing. We, as a community, we need to be doing things that are going to elevate ourselves so that we're not believing. I mean, think about how crazy and pathetic that is. I want y'all to process this for a minute. Think about how pathetic it is. See, I understand why some black women have a hard time respecting us, because you got real men out here literally saying that my whole fate, my whole ability to succeed, my whole ability to be free and happy is determined by whether another man lets me tickle his balls. That if I tickle his balls properly and just rub them in the right spot, the good things are gonna happen for me, because he's gonna put his balls on my forehead. I wasn't raised like that. I'm not a fan of that. I don't think that that is the best of us. I don't think that that makes us puts us in an appropriate light. I think that makes us look like a bunch of punks and suckers. I'm just gonna tell you the truth. So honestly, I'm with Dr. Anderson. I don't think we have a horse in the game. I think black people who do the right things in their own lives will be successful under a Trump administration. Also, they will be successful under a Biden administration. If you are educating your kids, you're going to be successful no matter who's in office. If you are working hard every day, you're going to be successful no matter who's in office. If you are working on your relationships with others to build positive scenarios where you can actually build together, you will be successful under any administration. So rather than trying to appease the right massa and get on the right plantation, how about you go build something of your own? How about that? Can we agree that that might be a good strategy? Give me a yes if you agree with that, because we tried the other stuff. We tried the whole Democrat Republican thing. We've been doing that for 40, 50, 60 years. Long time. Malcolm X talked about that. Malcolm X said this is a bunch of goofball stuff, that this doesn't even work. So how about we try building something of our own? If we do that, I think we can be very successful that way. So anyway, guys, I'm going to get out of here. I hope you guys have a great day. I want to mention a couple of quick things. Number one, we do have, if you are into solutions, if you are a solution oriented person, we do have the All Black National Convention happening October 25th through the 27th. It is in Chicago or Lombard, Illinois, right outside Chicago. And so if you are a person that has intelligence and skill, and you want to bring some of that to the table, or you believe in family and community, the convention is great for you. I just spoke to a estate planning attorney who's coming to the convention, who was there, who spoke last year. Her name was Kelly. I think it was Kelly Baker. I hope I didn't get her last name wrong. But anyway, yeah, Kelly Baker, Kelly with two L's and two E's, smart black woman who was at the convention last year. Hit her up and make sure she comes back this year, because she was helping people to put together generational legacies that are going to last 50, 100 years. She was helping to preserve the wealth. We've had great people like David Banner and Killer Mike. Killer Mike came out to the first convention in Atlanta and just set it on fire. We've had just experts in every area who are interested in one thing. How do we get our people to the next level? How do we solve our problems? How do we govern ourselves? What's governance look like? What does standards look like? What does it mean when we say, forget what the world is doing? Let's focus on what we're doing. And I can just tell you that any nation, any group of people that wanted to be independent had to do that. You had to be tough. You had to be strong. You had to be committed. You had to have high self-esteem. You have to take ownership and control of your children. You have to control the way the education is produced in your community. If you do not do that, then you're going to be a sucker. You're going to be a loser. You're going to be getting flopped around, kicked around. You're going to become a bunch of migrant gypsies, just basically going whichever way the wind blows. And I think we're better than that. I think that we deserve better than that. So if you'd like to join us at the convention, feel free to go to allblacknationalconvention.com. That's allblacknationalconvention.com. It's very classy. The hotel is the Westin Hotel in Lombard, Illinois, which is right outside of Chicago. And this convention is going to be the best ever. So feel free to go to allblacknationalconvention.com. And also, I forgot that Pastor James Wilson is going to be there, and he is an expert on Black church economics. And he is helping us to mobilize churches around the country to focus on building economic systems that will ensure that the pastor ain't the only one who gets rich, right? Because the church is a natural economy that hasn't been tapped into in its fullest potential. And I talked to James, and I said I support you 100% in that objective, because he's a brilliant brother, and a family man, and just a great Black men all together. And then, of course, we're going to have therapists like my wife, Dr. Alicia Watkins. As you know, my wife, Alicia, helped us to form in the Black Business School the very first ever Black financial therapy department. My wife is she's a 20-year licensed therapist and a full professor of social work. And just to give this Black woman her credit, very few PhDs ever become full professors. First of all, very few people become PhDs. I'm talking about real PhDs, where she went to school for 5 years to get her doctorate. When she started her program at Florida State, there were 5 Black students. 4 out of 5 did not finish. 4 out of 5 got eliminated. These were smartest of the smart, toughest of the tough. She was the only one that survived. She was the lone survivor in her doctoral program. And then she went and she made tenure. And then after that, she became a full professor, and which is something that very few scholars ever achieve. I didn't achieve it. So anyway, she helped me to create the first ever Black financial therapy department, where we are working with a lot of her therapist friends. Like the other day, we just met the president of the National Black Psychologists Association. And we said, let's have a think tank and drill into these psychological barriers that are keeping us from building our wealth. Let's figure out what's going on in terms of how this generational trauma is hurting us when it comes to our economics, that's keeping us from being able to reach our fullest potential. So we got therapists on deck. We have medical doctors on deck, attorneys on deck. We have scholars on deck. We have some of the best and brightest. And I really hope that you'll consider this, because this is what a nation building looks like. I don't even know everything in terms of what we need to do. I'm trying my best. I'm learning every day, though. I'm doing my best, and I'm not going to stop. And I can definitely tell you for sure, in my opinion, that all this Democrat Republican stuff, I don't know if that's it. Again, you've been doing this for 50 years and it ain't working. When something isn't working over a 50-year period, you got to do something else. Can we at least agree on that? That if something doesn't work over 50 years, you have to try another strategy. Can we at least agree on that? Or am I the only one in here who sees how crazy this is, that we go through the same little okey doke every 4 years? Every 4 years they got us out here scrambling, fighting each other. So again, I'm not even mad. I know DL sent that message, fuck you, I hate you, blah blah blah, and all this other stuff. I'm not even mad at DL. I feel sorry for him. I'm like, that's got to be stressful, that you feel like these two crusty old white dudes decide what the fate is going to be for you and your family. Because I don't feel that way, man. I don't feel that way, brother. I believe that brothers like you that get together and form their own agenda can do anything. That's what I believe. I believe that when Black men get together and we just behave as men, and we fight as men, and we stand up as men, and we say, to hell with you and to hell with your whole little plan. We know you got a plan for us, but we got a bigger plan for ourselves. And God has the greatest plan for us, because we are the original man. We are the original woman. You can't stop us when we own our game. You can't hold us back when we are focused. You're not going to block us from our destiny. And I just really believe, I think that approach is a better approach. That's just my 2 cents. I'm not trying to tell anybody that they're wrong. I'm not mad at nobody. I just hope you'll hear me on this. So anyway, I don't have anything else to say. I just want to pop on out, and I'm gonna send this link to you guys that are in the morning financial consciousness training. I want to apologize again for having to cancel class so many times this week. I had no idea that the trains will be running every day during class. Do I sound frustrated? I'm mad as hell about it. I was like, why? If are we? Because see what happens in Europe when it hits like I think 4 o'clock here. That's like 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock in New York or Eastern time. 10 o'clock is when we have class. Every single train literally gets us to the destination like right after 4 o'clock. And the other thing that I didn't know, I had my daughter plan this whole trip. It was, I love her. She's smart, but I said, damn, I should have been more involved. And the other thing is that she had us going to so many different cities that literally every single day we're getting on the train. Like tomorrow, I'm not going to enjoy Brussels. I'm literally going to enjoy it on my way to the train station as we go to the next city. So the bright side is that I've seen a lot of great cities that are really beautiful. And if you haven't been to Europe, I encourage you to go. Let's see, we went to Dubrovnik, which is near Croatia. Don't forget about all the war and all that. It's beautiful and beautiful people. And then there's Luxembourg and Basel, where they have Art Basel. That was beautiful city. And then Brussels, and then next is Amsterdam. I think Amsterdam's next. It's a whirlwind at this point. But and then next month we're going to do a group trip to Egypt because we can't leave Africa out of the mix. For all the people that make fun of me for going to European countries, I'm sorry. I want to learn from everybody. I want to go to China. I've been to South America. I've been to every continent. I've been to Iceland. I love Reykjavik, Iceland, but I also, been to different countries in Africa. Not as many as I want to go to, though. I've been to Nigeria, and Nigeria, Ghana, South Africa, and Botswana. And so our next group trip that we're taking in the Black Business School is to Egypt. Cameron, shout out to Jay Cameron for setting that up, helping us get that done. And we're going to do another group trip. And when I do that trip, I'll let you guys know if you guys want to join us. I would invite you on this one, but this one sold out very, very quickly. And we're going to make the announcement for the next trip at the All Black National Convention. So once again, if you want to join us in Chicago, October 25th to 27th, just go to allblacknationalconvention.com. All right, guys, I'm out of here. Have a great day. Please hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. And once again, also, if you want to do the Freedom Challenge and get the 30 days to financial consciousness, where I send you 30 straight lectures on various forms of economic elevation and financial consciousness right to your text message. It's 100% free. Just text the word freedom to the number 87948. Text freedom to 87948, and they will start arriving tomorrow. Have a good day, everybody. God bless you. Thank you so much for listening. I will see you all soon. Take care now. Peace.
Here we are, clan the isms, cataclysm, great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones who late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money in the power, never be fake. Stick to cosign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, triple 10. 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr. Boyce TV. Here we are.